Hey there, this is Jexy with the Systems Alliance, and in this video we're going to go over the rumors that Tom Cruise is going to be Green Lantern and what his demands are. So Tom Cruise as Green Lantern, specifically Hal Jordan, have been going on for a while now, and I think it's best to start from the beginning. So originally, Green Lantern was supposed to be a movie that Kevin Smith did. He turned it down. Then it was going to be a Quentin Tarantino movie, which that would have been interesting to see, but that never happened either. Then in 2011 we got the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern, so he played Hal Jordan then, and that movie just kind of stunk it up. It wasn't the worst superhero movie ever made, but it definitely cost way too much money to make, $200 million back in 2011, and it only made like $219 million. So when a movie has to make, say, double its budget to turn a profit, it definitely lost the studio tons of money. Personally, I always saw Ryan Reynolds at that point as more of a Flash character, a funny character. Obviously, Ezra Miller is the Flash now, but at the time, that was what he was closest to. And Hal Jordan just never really seemed to fit, so I think it was a casting issue from the start. So like any movie, good or bad, what it comes down to is the script and the execution. So for that particular 2011 Green Lantern movie, the script, not so great. Started out fairly decent, but what really hurt it were the villains. One of the things that I did like about the movie is, of course, Sinestro. So his part was actually perfect in the original Green Lantern movie, or rather, I guess, the only Green Lantern movie that we have currently. And I like that they didn't use him. Despite being the main villain of Hal Jordan, they didn't use him as the main villain. I mean, he starts out in the comics and in many iterations of cartoon movies and shows as still a Green Lantern and still good. And I like that they kept him like that. That was perfect. But I believe it was Parallax that they were using as the main villain. And since Green Lantern was supposed to start off the DCEU that we know now, and obviously it failed, things were quiet for a while, and then we got Man of Steel that started what we have now, to start off any universe, going immediately cosmic scale, and then on top of it, not even using him right. I mean, he looked basically like a big fart cloud in the sky. I don't know how you fight that, or it just didn't make any sense. It was like how Galactus was in Fantastic Four film. I mean, he looked just like a fart cloud in the sky. I mean, that's not menacing. That's not a good villain. That's not good execution. So that and a few other reasons is why the Green Lantern film failed originally. As many of you know, Hal Jordan is basically like Maverick in Top Gun. So it always made sense that Tom Cruise could be Hal Jordan. And this year, I was at Phoenix Comic-Con, and there was a panel, it was a DC panel, and it was just kind of the state, what people liked, what people didn't, the state of the DC universe in film. And people were bringing up names of who they would like to see cast in certain roles, and I said, hey, why not Tom Cruise as Hal Jordan in Green Lantern and make it kind of a buddy cop thing with him and Jon Stewart? So the reaction that I got was definitely pretty mixed. Tom Cruise has a lot of haters. Some of it's a little jokey, they hate him, but I mean, you're seeing his Mission Impossible films. They're great, and he's great. But to have such a big star like that coming into a movie, some people have trouble wrapping their heads around that. Will I see him as Hal Jordan, or will I see him as Tom Cruise? And when your character is as important as a Hal Jordan is to the DC universe in a Green Lantern film, it's a little different when you're Ethan Hunt in a Mission Impossible film. Because a lot of people are going to those movies. One, I mean, they're great movies, but two, they want to see what Tom Cruise does. They don't necessarily care about Ethan Hunt or the lore or anything like that. They just know this guy's doing his own stunts and it's going to be a fun ride. So let's just see what he does and let's check out this movie. Whereas a movie like Green Lantern, when you're putting it in this universe, has to be very set. It has to be believable as Hal Jordan, not Tom Cruise. But after the initial boos that I got to that, the people who put that aside and thought about it a little bit, they started going, you know what? That actually makes sense. That would be good. We do need Green Lantern. He's basically already Hal Jordan. He's played Hal Jordan before in Top Gun. Let's have him do it again. And all of us kind of grew up, any millennial that you want to talk to, pretty much grew up with Jon Stewart as their Green Lantern, not Hal Jordan. So Hal Jordan was not featured heavily at all in any of the cartoons growing up. Obviously in the comics, he's still #1 there, But as far as cartoons and everything like that, when people think of, hey, who's your Green Lantern? It's Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart's my Green Lantern. That's who I grew up with. That's who I identify with. And I like the version in the cartoon a little bit better than even the comic books. I believe in the comic book he's a construction worker or something like that ends up getting the ring. In the cartoons, though, he's a Marine, which suits a lot of the things that they do, and it's just really cool to see him in action. So originally it was going to be a buddy cop movie between Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. It was supposed to be written by David Goyer, and that was going to be the script, but that's been tossed. It's been revived since then with Jeff Johns, who's writing Green Lantern. Now, he's already done a great job writing Green Lantern in the actual comics, so why not write it for a movie? And that's kind of what we're all hoping he can do. You know, he used to be head of the DCEU, but unfortunately, unlike Marvel, he wasn't actually given any power, so the studio kept overruling him, and the products we got were uneven at best, let's say. But with him doing the thing he does best, which is writing great scripts and great comics, I think there's a much better outlook on the Green Lantern movie going forward. However, one of the issues with the script, whether it be past or present, one of the things that Tom Cruise didn't like is apparently if he was going to be Hal Jordan in the script, Hal Jordan was going to be killed off. So as everyone knows in the Green Lantern lore, even in the Ronald Reynolds movie or any of the cartoon movies or anything, Abin Sur, who's an alien Green Lantern, he dies, and as he dies, his ring goes to Hal Jordan. And this one, I'm not sure how they would be doing it, but it sounded like Hal Jordan would be dying, and then maybe his ring would be going to Jon Stewart. The only problem with that, doesn't really make any sense. Tom Cruise is a human. Where was he during the rest of this? Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Doomsday, Justice League, where is he during all of this? We know the Green Lanterns exist because in Justice League, one of the things he says, even though the trailers are better than the movie, you know, there's no lanterns anymore, there's no protectors. And then you see one Green Lantern in the past with the Amazons and Atlanteans fighting alongside them. So obviously there's been a big shakeup at Warner Brothers. So even though Warner Brothers, they've always loved the idea of Tom Cruise as Hal Jordan, we're not really sure how that's going now that they've been bought out by AT&T, although apparently the feds are maybe thinking about challenging that since AT&T has since raised their prices on things they said they wouldn't. But aside from that, Tom Cruise has always been open to playing Hal Jordan and being in the DCEU, which is pretty awesome. Now, Christopher McQuarrie, the director of Mission Impossible, he's also open to directing Tom Cruise as Green Lantern in the DCEU. The only problem is, I don't think Paramount Pictures at this point is going to let him go because he's having so much success over there with the Mission Impossible films. So even though he'd love to direct Cruise in a movie like this or a superhero movie, doesn't seem like it's going to work out that way. That being said, though, of course, Henry Cavill, aka Superman, is in the Mission Impossible film, sporting a mustache, in case anyone forgot that was the reason why he looked so messed up in the Justice League reshoots, because they did a really bad job at CGing his mustache off. So that's where we got Mustache Gate from, and apparently Henry Cavill himself, in an interview with Collider, said that one of the things he collects is mustache memes about him as Superman and the weird baby lip thing going on with the CG. So whether or not the mustache was necessary for him to be great and the movie to be great for Mission Impossible, I don't know, but it was great. Unfortunately, Warner Brothers must have cheapened out in the CGI because they just really couldn't do it. Or they should have just did all the scenes with him with a beard, which would have made a lot more sense, and they wouldn't have had to CGI anything. So I don't know why they didn't do that, but regardless of that, Henry Cavill is also very supportive of Tom Cruise joining the DCEU, specifically as Hal Jordan. So if Superman wants Tom Cruise to be Green Lantern, that should be a pretty good head start too, at least. I think so. And who knows how the script is going now, but Tom Cruise doesn't want Hal Jordan to die, and I'm in complete agreement with him. I don't think that Hal Jordan should be killed off, and hopefully he won't, but I'm kind of getting tired of characters being killed off that have no reason to be killed off. Lex Luthor's assistant, Mercy, she's always in the comics. She is always in the cartoons. The only time I can actually remember her being killed off is in the animated movie Superman Doomsday, where she's already established as a character and she's a part of it. She has a bunch of lines, she's talking with Lex Luthor, and then Lex Luthor shows his ruthlessness by killing her. But in Batman v Superman, she doesn't even have a line. She doesn't even have a spoken line in the movie. So killing her off, what's the point? Why make her Mercy? Just make her someone else. It doesn't even matter at that point. but don't kill off a character that you may want to use again later. Same thing with the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman. They, for whatever reason, killed off Jimmy Olsen, and Jimmy Olsen is supposed to be a kid, Superman's pal, and they make him like this CIA guy who ends up getting shot, and it's just, it doesn't make any sense. You know, he has no relationship with Superman. It's barely introduced as anything. He's just, oh, he has a camera, so he's Jimmy Olsen. Now, granted, they can back off either of these. They can have a new Mercy and make her kind of like a James Bond character, and where she just has the Mercy name. And same with Jimmy Olsen. It was in the Ultimate Edition, even though that's the edition that you should be watching if you watch BVS. Since it wasn't in the theatrical cut, is it really canon? Or, you know, I think they call him James or something instead of Jimmy, so they could just have a new Jimmy Olsen or something like that. It could be his brother or something, I don't care. But I do agree with Cruz that they shouldn't be killing off any characters that aren't normally killed off. Of course, another one is in Man of Steel, and even in the original Superman movies with Christopher Reeve, Jonathan Kent, his dad. He's not dead in the comics. He's not dead in the cartoons. He's awesome, and he's great with Martha Kent. Yes, Martha. But I don't know why they keep killing him off. To me, it's completely unnecessary, and I know they end up putting him back in or making him part of the plot, but it just never makes sense that they're killing off characters that should not be killed off. So let me know what you think about this. Do you think Tom Cruise should play Hal Jordan as Green Lantern? If he is, do you think he should be killed off, or do you think they should keep him alive and he can just kind of be a mentor figure that's out there in space fighting while the rest of the movies end up focusing on Jon Stewart? Personally, that's what I would like, but let me know what you think. Leave a comment section below, hit subscribe, leave a like, and we'll catch you next time.